So the state of AI right now is back then it was sorry, not back then. About a year ago it was human-like conversation. Now and then next was human-like images, right? Generative images. Before that, so let me go through like the general history of AI just to give you where things are headed towards. So first we would have systems that are hard-coded, like Deep Blue, which was basically hard-coded. All the chess moves that Deep Blue would make against Garry Kasparov, they were all hard-coded, I believe. So that was, right now we would call that more like a program rather than AIs. But then over time, it led to more general capabilities. First, it was recommendation. You already had the set of data that was tagged, that had the metadata. It had everything, so all the AI had to do was make recommendations based on previous interactions, which is still a very difficult problem, but it was easily solved by social media and big tech. And then over time, it went from recommendation to generation. So we went from things needing rules to things not really needing rules. So for example, with the chess, with AlphaGo and AlphaZero and MuZero, and I think now Google's making Gemini Zero, or they're making something new. I'm not sure. Which, instead of hard coding what moves to make, now it learned from zero, right? It learned from scratch. It still had the rules of the game and winning conditions, but then that was for Alpha Zero. Alpha Go actually didn't even have the rules. It only had the win-loss conditions. And then so over time, it becomes more and more and more general. You're needing less and less human in the loop. So with large language models, it's the same thing. At first, we needed reinforcement learning with human feedback, RLHF, to make sure that the outputs were valid, that they made sense to people. But over time, there's less and less human in the loop. So why I'm kind of going through all of this is to give like a general flow, right? How things are actually progressing in AI. Over time, over more and more time, we've needed less and less human in the loop, right? So for recommendation systems, people still needed to create the content, right? The movies, the books, the videos. But with generative AI, now AI can start filling in the gaps, right? AI can make the videos, AI can make the songs, AI can make the books, right? So you can think of it in a way as RLHF, except it's generation, right? So reinforced generation with human feedback. But now it's getting but there's less and less need for human feedback now. So what's happening, right? What's basically happening is AI is becoming more and more independent. It's becoming more and more autonomous. Now, with all its capabilities, now it's multimodal, right? It has basically an indefinite context window, token limit, basically. So what's next would be seamless multimodality, right? Video to audio to text to image to DNA, right? Seamless multimodality, so native multimodality. There's already with GPT-4o and large action models, there's already native multimodality, but and it's almost seamless too. But it would be like, I think it could be called an omni model, right, or total model, where it's totally modal beyond any modality that we can describe, because modalities really are a human way of describing things, right? It's a way in which we understand how the world works, but that's not actually how AI has to be trained. So, to give an example, with the recommendation systems, at first it recommended based on. Okay, I'm going to go through the general. I'm not going to go through the specific architecture, but generally speaking, so like Netflix, Facebook, Google, Amazon recommendations. Previously, it had all the human tags, right? Like with a movie, a horror movie, comedy movie, drama movie, and through those tags and with your personal history and other related users, if you aggregate all that together, you can get a general sense of, oh, this person likes horror, so they might like this horror movie, they might like this horror movie, right? So at first, recommendations were based on human specified tags, but over time, um, now recommendation systems don't really use tags anymore, right? Because the AI itself learned how to tag everything in a way that the AI knows, right? So it wouldn't really make sense to humans the way it quote unquote tags things, right? How it classifies things. But to an AI, it would make sense. Same with mixture of experts, right? At first, we would do mixture of expert models, right? So combining lots of large language models together. Maybe there's an accountant language model, of a lawyer language model, a scientist language model. But those categorizations are made to make sense to humans. But to an AI, you can actually train the categories that the AI can understand. So now a mixture of expert models, their categorizations don't really make sense to humans, right? They might split up tokens. It almost seems like it's random, right? So they might split the. So if you had like a prompt, the cat leaped over the fence, right? The might be the first expert, cat might be the second expert, leapt might be the fourth expert, and it wouldn't make any sense to humans, but to the AI, it would make sense. So with multimodality, it might actually become omni or flexible modality, where the modality itself is trained by the AI. So the modality wouldn't make sense to us, but it would make sense to the AI. Everything that we do on the computer, everything is designed so that it makes sense to humans, right? Because we're using the computers, or so we think. But actually, if we want the AI to be integrated, right, seamless into our computers, it has to be natively integrated, which means the AI itself has to have an intuitive, quote unquote, understanding, right, quote unquote, of whatever it's working with, right? The data, the OS, the architecture. So the AI itself has to be trained on whatever the database, whatever you want it to work with. So with that in mind, here are they're not really predictions, but here are the general trends in the industry. First is, so we're already starting to see omni modality. I think that's what OpenAI is calling it. So the modality itself will be trained by the AI. We'll have agentic. We're already having lots of agentic behavior, but truly agents. Almost like we already have like daemons, right? Daemons, API calls, cron jobs. We already have all of those automated computer processes, but they'll be, it'll be on like the next level, right? Because it'll be generative automated processes. And then the third would be we would probably start to see autonomous, I'll call it semi-autonomous robots by now. So kind of to make an analogy, there's like 5 levels of automation for driving, self-driving cars. The first level is basic, like I'm trying to remember the name. Oh, like basic like steer guidance, automatic braking, or maybe not automatic braking, but cruise control. That would be first level automation. Second level would be automatic, or not automatic, maybe like assisted braking, assisted guidance, right? So if you have a camera on your back, right, and if it can detect if there's something behind you, it'll beep, right, and it'll slow down, right? So that's secondary, or second level of driving automation. Third level is almost autonomous, right? But you still need a little bit of driving guidance. This is kind of like planes, right? Planes or trains. Planes and trains have already been like second or third level automation for decades, because trains, they're on a rail, so you don't. It's very easy to make it automated. And for planes, because there's so much, right? Air traffic control. There's so many already automated controls. The pilot really only needs to take care of liftoff and landing, right? Or takeoff and landing. That's the only thing the pilots really need to focus on. Fourth level of automation is basically autonomous. You can pretty much sleep, watch Netflix, play games, and drive. Basically, besides for like edge cases, right? That's where the edge cases, crazy weather comes in. Crazy weather, road blockages, stuff like that, or any very specific cases. And then fifth level of autonomy, self-driving cars is total 100% self-driving. Right now, we're pretty much at level 4. Yeah, we're pretty much at level 4 self-driving. They might have some secret level 5 self-driving car that I don't know of, but you can think of it, you can make a similar analogy to autonomous robots. So level 1 would be like factory robots. We've had those for centuries, basically. Level 1 factory automation. Or not even automation, but assembly line, basically. Level 2 would be a little bit more control. Maybe you have like automatic. We already have like automatic shutdown systems, automatic power up systems. For example, with the elevator, even if like the cables break, there's mechanisms, there's counterweights that slow it down. There's also the braking system that slows it down. There's a bunch of like fail-safe measures, where fail-safes are basically like level 1 and level 2 automation, right? They just happen on their own. Level 3 is kind of where we are right now with like Amazon warehouses, LiDAR, sonar, sort of self-guiding robots, but they still need lots of human inputs to manage. Level 4 is, we're probably not at level 4 robotic automation yet, but it's getting close. So what does this all mean, right? What does this all point to? Basically, the way things are going right now, we're looking at omnimodal agents. agentic behavior, which is flow engineering, but eventually flow engineering itself will also be designed by AI. And autonomous robots, we're going to level 4 autonomous robots. That's where the industry is heading right now. And then I can't really predict beyond that because it gets exponential. But in the next couple months, maybe a year, that's where we're headed to. Agentic, fully agentic, natively seamless models. Omni models, which is natively multimodal. And level 4 autonomous robots. That's where we're going to.